Alright, so boom, wagwan, bruv, or bravet. Hope you're having a phenomenal day wherever you are on this World Wide Web. Welcome back to another installment of Edutainment. The goal on this channel is to make you laugh, brighten up your day, but most importantly, give you some information that can be life-changing advice. You know what I'm saying? So we range from addiction topics, specifically weed, to personal finance and getting our money up. Because the motto, the mother effing motto this year is to stack and act broke. Get your bread and all the crumbs too. You know, if you act broke, you always have money. And the pro tip advice of the day is, if you can't buy it twice or even 3 times, you can't afford it. That's it. That's how you keep your money. And if you have any purchasing decisions that you have in mind, you wait about 24 hours, let it simmer a little bit, let it marinate, and then if it's still worth it, make your decision. But no more impulse purchases all 2020 and beyond. You know what I'm saying? So, 5 facts you didn't know about passive income, courtesy of Andrei Jikh, Dividend Investing. Let's cut straight to it, shall we? No long talk. Or merely walking that subscribe button, whoa, and that like button. I appreciate you.
Happy Monday, guys. Welcome back. Hope you had a great weekend. I love Mondays because today we have a special video talking about the 5 facts you didn't know about passive income investing as it relates to dividends. Now, when it comes to passive income, I have made it my personal life goal to make my passive income cover all of my big expenses like my house, my food, and my car, of which, as a starving YouTuber, I have none of those things. And you know what the critics are saying? It's all because millennials are broke. And all of that is 100% true. Yeah, it's true. It's all true. Now, I have been extremely fortunate to have been investing since I was about 19 years old and building my dividend income portfolio right here with Robinhood. Right now, it's worth about $186,000 and it's paying me about $550 every single month. Now, this is about to become relevant information in just a second, but this does not count my WeBull portfolio, which is approaching almost $10,000. It'll be there soon. So thank you guys so much for all the support, and I will be making a WeBull update video very soon. And the last thing I'm not mentioning is, of course, my other holdings, which I don't want the IRS to know about. Starts with B and ends with Itcoin. So now we're about to begin. I'm going to show you the 5 things and the 5 facts you didn't know about. It's about to get technical and data heavy, so bear with me. I promise it's going to be good. So smash the like button and let's begin. At number 1, believe it or not, dividends have accounted for a huge percent of growth in the entire stock market. Check this out. I'm about to blow your mind. In a study called Why Dividends Matter by fund co-managers Dr. Ian Mortimer and Matthew Page, when looking at the long run at the S&P 500 historical return since 1940, we can conclude that reinvested dividends have accounted for over 90% of the index's growth during that time. Just think about that for a second. Reinvested dividends have accounted for over 90% of growth in the stock market since 1940. Let's assume you were able to invest $100 at the end of 1940. This $100 would be worth $174,000 at the end of 2011, assuming you had reinvested those dividends.
Yo, think about all the money you spend on shit, bro. All the money you spend on shit, like, that is frivolous, that wears out in a couple of years, wears out in a time frame. Like, where is your money going? Do you know where your money is going? Like, say you have your main expenses, right? Like the mortgage or rent, car payment, whatever it is. But then all the miscellaneous spending or the fun spending, you know? I just find it interesting how, like, just doing certain things, living a certain way for a short period of time can cause such an increase in income, right? Especially now, especially if you're in 20s watching this, you don't really have liabilities or a child. Ideally, stay strapped up. Okay, stay strapped up, or use a plan B, or be on birth control, whatever you gotta do. But, like, watch where your money is going.
Versus only $12,000 had you not reinvested those dividends. What a crazy big difference that makes. This $100 would be worth exactly, almost perfectly, what my dividend portfolio is at this moment. This is exactly why, personally, I reinvest every single dollar that I get from my dividend portfolio back into itself, which right now is about $550 a month. So I like to think of every dollar like my little soldier that goes out and fights all my battles and recruits other little dollar soldiers, and he is relentless, nonstop, doesn't ask for paid vacation or sick leave. And if you don't like that analogy, we can use something less.
So essentially, what he's saying is, don't take the money out, let it simmer, let it marinate, let it work for you, because, you know, that's the ideal choice of passive income. That money will work for you. That at least it won't be as much of an active process.
If you don't like that analogy, we can use something less government and military, like, I don't know, Jehovah's Witnesses. They are also relentless, and they will knock on your door and they will try to recruit every single one of you, unless you combine them with an atheist, in which case you just get a guy who knocks on your door for no reason at all. Now you might be saying,
well, that's not fair, Andre. You're an idiot because you're using time periods that are favorable to prove your point.
And that is a very fair critique. I also don't like it when people do that and they use data and mathematical models to support their conclusion because they use data that is favorable to proving their point. So let's be as objective as possible and use unfavorable data to try to illustrate this same exact point. If we look at low growth periods, such as the 1940s and the 1970s, well then, still, reinvested dividends have accounted for over 75% of the stock market returns. And why is that? Well, that's important because reason number 2 you may not have known about is because dividend companies fall less hard during recessions and they recover a lot quicker. So here are some recessions to illustrate this exact same point. So check this out. Example number 1, November 1973 to February 1975, dividends per share, DPS, fell 1% in comparison to earnings per share, or the EPS, that fell 15%. The next recession, from July to October of 1981 to 1982, there was no decline in dividends per share, while earnings per share fell 9%. The next example, example number 3, 1990 to 1991, dividends per share fell just 1%, and earnings per share fell 32%. Example number 4, June 2001 to December 2001, DPS fell 6% and EPS fell 54%. The last example, which is the most recent recession, the housing bubble of 07 and 08, DPS fell 24%. In comparison to EPS falling 92%. So why is that, Andre? Why are dividend paying companies so special and what makes them so protected during economic recessions? I don't get it. Well, it's true that some companies can and absolutely do freeze or cut their dividend entirely during hard times. Rarely, if ever, do they cut their dividend dramatically all at once. And that's because a dividend represents a company's future earning power, and it's supposed to be set at reasonable payout levels that are supposed to be sustainable no matter what the market conditions are. Another factor that helps this cause is one that many...
I think the whole idea of like taking your money out, like the people that always hold their money into their investment the longest, usually have the greatest payoff. If you're actually making a proper investment, not Bitcoin, well, not to start anyways. If you're actually making a proper investment, you're in it for the, just have the mindset that you're in it for the long run, not 2, 3, 4 years, but you're in it to, by the time you're 40, 50, you can be chilling a bit more. You can create some of that generational wealth that is so coveted, you know, that your kids, their lives will be a bit easier than yours. You won't be able to get to that point if you haven't done the things that are uncommon or the things that aren't sexy, right? Doing this stuff, learning about all this shit, it's not sexy. Buying a Lamborghini, posting on IG or social media, getting some retweets and likes, that's sexy though.
Many dividend investors, including myself, share. And it's this unique personality trait that is somewhat counterintuitive. And it's that we all love Dragon Ball Z. Now, Goku! I'm sorry, that King Kai impersonation was just itching to happen since the start of this video. It has nothing to do with it. The reason is because all dividend investors love to use those dividend paychecks to buy more high-quality dividend-paying companies for less. In other words, stocks that are depreciating in value, because by doing that, we're going to multiply our income much faster. This is very much in contrast to how growth investors will invest their money. Like, let's say they invest into Tesla. Now, this is not necessarily true for every Tesla investor, but for many of them, they chase short to mid-term profits, and they will wait for favorable conditions when this company reports favorable quarterly income reports and says that it's made money. And if it doesn't, the share price will drop in value, and many of those investors will get skittish, they'll get scared, and they will pull out. And by doing that, they're just going to lose money. So you can see how dividend investors have a lot more staying power because we're much more motivated by this constant flow of cash and income that we receive on a monthly or quarterly basis. So if you think about it, it makes perfect sense why dividend investors and dividend companies have done much better during economic recessions. And this dividend investor confidence also comes from reason number 3. And that is, profits are a matter of opinion and dividends are a matter of fact. Now, some companies have been known to make it seem like they're a lot more profitable than they actually are. And there's a lot of different creative ways that a company can do this, but that's a video for another time. Now, share prices in the stock market are not always super accurate and reflective of the truth. And that means if a company is not paying dividends and it's just a growth company, it makes it a little bit more difficult to assess just how profitable that company really is. We have to trust the CEO and the company about reporting its own profitability and hope that they are not lying to us, the public. And of course, that has happened before. However, if a dividend company is not profitable, then it cannot pay its dividends. It's just that simple. And as a dividend investor, I know that each and every dividend that I receive is 100% real. It's coming from real profitability and it's a real dollar. It cannot be manipulated by creative accounting to make it seem like a company is profitable if it actually isn't. And this one simple fact gives me all the confidence I need to continue investing more money. The fourth thing to be aware of, which should also help your confidence that you may not have heard about before, is that a dividend paying company will pay you the same amount at the basis at which you bought it at, which means if you put in $100 into a company that's paying you 4%, it's going to pay you that $4 regardless of what the share price is worth, whether it's half or double, assuming the company doesn't.
So obviously, we're going into a lot of detail about the investing part, right? And I have my own, like, I might share my own, like, Robinhood account at one point. But before you can even get to this point, right, you should not really be investing if you already have debt, right? You're almost like, you have a liability with the debt and then you're trying to get ahead with investing. That's why, like, having the emergency fund, paying off all your debt first, right? Your car debt, student loan, whatever it is, like tackling that shit, like going hard at that shit, and then creating a bigger version of an emergency fund. I can cover your expenses for the next, like, at least 4 to 12 months. And then go into the process of investing. That is the surefire way to use your income to gain financial independence. And even if you just have a regular job, right? Which I pray y'all don't just have a regular job that doesn't increase your wage every year or doesn't increase your income every year. But let's say you have no debt, you're living on the minimum, and you're investing in this shit. By the time you're 40, maybe older, or 30 at least, you have something coming in, like him, right? I think he's like 32 right now. He has $500 coming in every month. That can at least cover what? Something. Groceries for the month or something.
Meaning the company doesn't freeze or cut its dividend altogether, and that to me alone helps me sleep at night. And no, just because a company is going to pay you 4% or $4 a year does not mean it's going to take you 25 years to make back your investment.
Okay.
That's not how it works. That's inaccurate. Well, that's stupid. You're going to take 25 years to get back that investment. That's not at all how it works, because the principal value of your shares, assuming that it's a healthy growing company, will also appreciate, as should your dividend, which is a pretty incredible thing. Now, at what rate does it grow? Well, that is reason number 5. Dividends are an inflation hedge. When looking at the S&P 500 dividend growth rate over a 10-year rolling period since the 1940s, oh my god, that was a mouthful,
yep,
we get a 6% dividend growth rate, which is ironic because my portfolio has done 6.2, which is nearly identical in the last 10 years. And that is amazing because when looking at inflation over the same period of time, that is 4%. So your dividend growth rate is growing faster than inflation, protecting your dollar from losing purchasing power and dim sum. Some other things to mention about dividend stocks that people misunderstand is that when a company pays said dividend, the share price will drop by the same amount that it pays its dividend. So you can't, for example, buy the stock before the X date, get the dividend, and then sell the stock the same day thinking you've outsmarted everyone. So Andrei, what's the point of investing in dividend companies if the share price will just fall by the same amount? Doesn't it just cancel out? I'm saying it like a brat because some people comment like they're so clever, but in theory, yes, that is how it works. But in reality, that is not always the case. Sometimes the share price will drop by less than the dividend. Sometimes.
Well, end of the day, before you even dabble into the whole investing shit, get your financial stuff right. First, no debt, have an emergency fund, and then dabble into Robinhood, WeBull, all that shit. That's all I'm gonna say. Shout out to Andrei though. We want to have financial literacy out here in this bit. Okay, no more financially illiterate. No more financially illiterate children, men and women in this world. But yo, God bless, much love, peace and joy, namaste. Full link, original video will be in the description of this video as well. And yeah, God bless. Doesn't feed you, do not water that shit. Deuces.
I see this paper and it's wavy and then I cop that. I'm going right for the top, you better just trust that. We know the truth don't lie to us. We're rolling through so scandalous. She got the thing that I might just touch, yeah.